All right. Good morning. This is the walkthrough video for well, I don't know what time it is for you. It's morning for me. Hi, welcome to Tuesday, August 26th in Try One Week 4. You can tell that today is the day after back to school night because I do not know what month 8 is. We're doing great. Thanks for asking. Hey, what do all cells contain? There are like so many correct answers. So you can think about the atoms, the molecules, the cellular components. Remember, though, that not all cells have cell walls, right? You're not terribly crunchy. You do not have cell walls. All cells do not have nuclei or Golgi apparatus. Prokaryotes don't. They don't have membrane-bound organelles. You don't have chloroplasts, for example. So, like, I think if you think molecularly or atomically here, you're going to be in good shape. Lots of correct answers, though. Okay, so today you're going to write out this whole what, which is how can we review what we've learned so far about the chemistry of life? And it turns out that if you were absent today, you are in good shape because we are doing things pretty much remotely, although you are going to need a blank folder, like a manila folder, and I have those in the classroom. So today we're going to do some practice problems and a work day. Everybody should have completed the Kim Foglia assignment by now. And so I'm giving you the 2 practice quizzes on AP Classroom that contain the topic questions about that content. The Elements of Life, that's CHNOPS, and the Introduction to Macromolecules quizzes. I'm also going to introduce study folders, and then I'm going to give you some work time. I have some very specific suggestions on how you spend it. Tomorrow is similarly structured. We're going to do some practice problems. Tomorrow, we're going to work with those practice problems a little bit. And then you are going to have the opportunity to flex your time. If you're an on-time learner, which many of you are, probably about 50% of the room, I think, the expectation is this is the beginning of your study folder time. And as we work through our last lab for this content this week, touch the project one more time for Unit 1, you're going to be in good shape moving forward. So, okay, so study folders. Remember, we're thinking about studying through this lens of this book, How to Become a Straight A Student, the Unconventional Strategies Real College Students Use to Score High While Studying Less. Turns out that a lot of us invent the exact same types of structures. But the invention of that structure, and indeed teaching yourself how to more durably, reliably, and oftentimes faster learn is really messy. I mean, I'm 45. I've been thinking about this since I was your age. And so like it looks like the thing in the middle for me, right? Like I have some pretty awesome career success. I've got a big fancy book coming out. I got invited to go to all these conferences last year to preview it. But what it looked like in the middle was me sitting at my kitchen table with this horrible realization about 18 months ago that I didn't really understand how I was going to communicate these really important ideas in my teaching practice. So like the thing that we're going to do today is what might be your version of this. We're going to make a resource that you're then going to learn from. So I want to be clear about that. So the thing we're going to make, which are study folders, if you've seen those before, study folders are indeed, let's make sure that you can still see this great. Study folders are indeed a resource to learn from. So if you make them like a fact card, that is going to be much less good. So as we've learned from How to Become a Straight A Student, making your own DIY problem set and answering it is the most powerful way to study. As a result, we're going to make study folders that are similar to the ones created in the other AP Science classes itself so that you can create a resource that can be used throughout the year. You're making the study guide for yourself so you can review for every exam until the May exam. You're going to organize content into easy to study categories. You're going to like think about how you want to look at and review that content. You're going to make some connections and do some reflection. My rules are a little looser maybe than the others, but they have some really important components. So the folder has to have your name and the title of the unit on the front. It does not need to be the only thing. If you need to fill that space, my friends, go ahead and fill that space. You're going to organize the folder into sections based on the topics in the curriculum map. So for example, here's the curriculum map. And you can see the first topic that we're learning about is responses to the environment, right? And you can see they're all kind of yellow: structure of water and hydrogen bonding, et cetera, et cetera. So the topics here are what you're going to organize for each section. And then we really think you should make yourself some diagrams that you can talk aloud. The assessment there would be, can you explain what you're looking at out loud or in writing on a separate sheet of paper as you're studying from this? Are there specifically mathematical routines and examples? You should make yourself some chi-squared problems. I have some sample review books that people can look at. You have your own review book or the photocopy. What are some examples of what you could put in there to help you calculate? Maybe you have like some metaphors or analogies. Do you remember like a cell is like a city? That would be an example of an analogy. I'm not sure how much of that will help you here, but you're welcome to it. Really, really important sample questions and answers. Use questions from our assignments, build your own, use the study folder, paraphrase from the topic questions. The goal here is to give you some examples of sample problems that you can then work, or diagrams that you can talk through and explain. In fact, in Unit 3, half of our entire study folder is going to be one big picture of photosynthesis and respiration in eukaryotes. So it's really important to me. You might need to reference the curriculum map. It says questions, it's just a curriculum map, in addition to our coursework, like lab notebooks, handouts, digital assignments like those in AP Classroom, in order to do this. I also wanted to say a lot of people in this trimester are going to need vocabulary or flashcards, like how are you going to remember which elements are in which things? You can make flashcards in a pocket. We have a lot of index cards this year, and you're welcome to them. But I also wanted to show you a picture of how to use a fold it. If you've never made these, you can like glue the bottom half or tape the bottom half into the folder. And then it's like strips. And behind each stripe, you can open it and get a definition or a picture of what's happening with the vocab term on the front. This is good if you lose stuff. It is less good because when you are using flashcards, you can also use them to concept map. You can use them to sort into what you know and what you don't know. You can hand them to a friend and have them mix up the order. But also, if you are prone to losing things, fold-its are your friends. Don't cut them so thin that you can't lift them. If you have questions, let me know. It has to be handwritten, y'all. Handwriting is how we learn things. A meta-study came out last summer that made that very clear. There will be a limited number of printed visuals I will accept from you, but not right now. Nothing is so complicated that you can't draw them. Yeah, I don't expect you to be able to draw all the hydrogens in a starch molecule, for example. But you should be able to like draw a general shape of a sugar, of a lipid, a phospholipid, those sorts of things. More about phospholipids later, actually. It's in Unit 2. I'm good. Happy back to school. It's really nice to have like interactive pieces, like lift the flask pieces. For me, color is optional. I like it. You don't have to use it. Most of my like really good note taking does not involve color. So whatever you need. The completed study folder for each unit is due full credit before the unit exam. This is one of the few things that if you don't get it in on time, you're going to max out at 60%, because when people make these full credit ahead of time, surprise, the doing is what helps them do better on the test. So the completed study folder is due before the unit exam for full credit, and it's required. Maybe I can write that. Let's see. Let's see if I can do that. For full credit. It's okay, I'll make the font smaller. And is required in order to be eligible to do test corrections. So you need a completed study folder in order to be eligible to do test corrections. And I just wanted to say, Mrs. Floyd has a version of this document that I made this from, and I'm really thankful. So that's the deal with study folders. The other order of business today that's really important is that I've given you those 2 AP Classroom practice quizzes. The elements of life are about, as you can see, like nutrients and atoms. And then down here is hydrolysis and dehydration synthesis. I am never grading these. If you take them and you really don't understand, that's a signal that you might need to watch the daily videos that are listed above. This is just a screenshot from AP Classroom. So here's my suggestion. Why I'm falling off my chair. Okay, so the first order of business is that you have to do those 2 practice quizzes and you have to help yourself learn about them. Maybe you go back into your notes from the Unit 1 videos and you like take some notes in the sidelines, or you tape a flap into your lab notebook with some extra notes if you need them. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. A lot of people, when I was doing a notebook check yesterday, had not finished the properties of water jigsaw. If you were absent, you know that you only need that first page in. But everybody else, if you were here for the assignment, I'm going to ask that you finish that page, because it's got some vocab requirements, that last page rather, because it's got some vocab requirements that you're going to need. You should get that picture into your own project tracker. Then you've got some flexible time and space. So if you're an on-time learner and school feels okay and the protein video made sense and you're good, then you're going to start your study folder, and that's the expectation. quite a few people, especially in second period, because it ran late, you might need to work a little more on the protein POGL. You definitely can cut that little picture out about primary, tertiary, secondary, quaternary structure, whatever question that is, and put it directly. You might want to put the ones that are in the classroom. I like cut out primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary. You could even cut those out, put those in your study folder or in sheets that you attach to your study folder, whatever. Maybe you have some other late work you need to do. That's okay too. Tomorrow is a similarly structured day. We're going to run a lab on Thursday and Friday, which I'm excited about. And then only 16 of you have completed your field experiences. That's fine. A reminder, they're due on Sunday. So cool. Hope that was useful for you. Again, tomorrow is going to have a similar theme. Today, I'm going to ask you to reflect on how you spent today. How far along are you? What else do you need to accomplish to kind of be at the place where you're in the middle of your study folder and have all the other work for the course completed? 1 to 3 sentences. All right, that's it for me. I hope you're doing well out there. We'll see you soon.